Dear friends, these days we all are very health conscious and we like to live longer and longer. One of the most beloved entertainers of all time was George Burns. He died in 1996 at the age of 100 years. When he was 90, he wrote a book titled How to Live to be 100 or More. In that book, he has an interesting chapter. It is called Stay Away from Funerals, Especially Your Own. George then said, if you look in the obituary column in the morning, in the daily newspaper, and your name is not there, you must go ahead and have breakfast. Then he wrote, if he ever found his name there, he would go ahead and still have his breakfast. Because he said, I am not living on empty stomach anyway. Dear friends, today's gospel begins with the story of the disciples who had the experience of walking with the risen Lord and recognized him at the breaking of the bread. Jesus also appears to his other disciples and asking them to touch and feel him so that they may know that he is truly present among them. These two events are distinct in time but closely linked together. The apparitions of the risen Lord was to prepare his disciples for a new life and a new mission. Jesus explains to them how his life, death, and resurrection are being fulfilled in their lifetime, as prophesied in the scriptures, and how his beloved disciples must tell this story to other people. Today's readings invite each one of us to ask what we ought to do in return for all that Jesus has done for us. What have we done in the past, and what are we going to do in the future for the Lord? In short, each of us owes a gift of gratitude to God. In this way, we are called to become something useful and beautiful for God, and in the process, we may have to go through some hardships or sufferings as Jesus himself did. The disciples had every reason to see that it was Jesus who was walking beside them. They knew that the tomb was empty, and moreover, their friends, the group of women, came and told them what the angel had announced, that Jesus was alive. It had only been a few days since Jesus died, yet even when he was in their midst, their eyes were prevented from recognizing the risen Lord. They thought it was a ghost. Only when Jesus broke the bread with them did they perceive and understand. Similarly, Jesus walks with us every day, and perhaps our eyes are prevented from recognizing the risen Lord. What exactly clouds our vision? It could be the fear of our future. It could be the doubts about our own faith. It could be the despair about our life situations. Like those two disciples on the road to Emmaus, we must speak to the Lord, telling him our personal story. When Jesus comes to us, we have an opportunity to encounter the Lord in many ways, especially in the breaking of the bread and listening to his word at this Eucharistic celebration. No matter how chaotic our lives may have become, attending the Mass serves as a reminder of Jesus' constant presence in our daily life. Having encountered Jesus in the breaking of bread, those disciples felt the need, the necessity, and felt compelled to share the good news with other people, even his own disciples. As Catholics being nourished by this Eucharist, we too can share the love of Jesus and our hope in his resurrection with our people we encounter. Like the disciples, we too can be troubled and afraid at times. And the question is, do we believe in the good news or the bad? The good news is that Jesus Christ, our Savior, is truly alive. Whenever we go, wherever we go, and whatever we do, we can be rest assured that Jesus walks along with us in our daily lives. I like to close with a true story that shows how we can experience the Lord's presence and continue his mission on earth. In 1954, the great French artist and painter Henri Matisse died at the age of 84. In his last years of life, arthritis crippled and deformed his hands and his fingers, and so he couldn't do much of the painting. That made it very painful for him to hold the paintbrush. Yet he continued to paint and do other artistic works, placing a cloth between his fingers so that the brush may not slip and fall. One day someone came to him and asked, "Why do you submit to such suffering and pain and still continue to paint?" Henry replied, "The pain passes, but the beauty remains." Yes, dear friends, the pain that we may experience in being the followers of Christ, the disciples of the Lord, and being shaped into something beautiful for God will pass in the course of our lifetime. But the beauty of what we become in the presence of God will remain for eternity. I like to end with a caption that is very relevant to understand the meaning of today's readings. What we are today is God's gift to us, and what we become tomorrow is our gift to God.